Hey everyone, welcome back to AskReddit Reads. Today's topic is, what did a former friend do that instantly changed your opinion of them? Let's get into it. Borrowed a vehicle for a week, returned it full of trash with both door handles broken and stinking of smoke. When I asked him about it, he said he didn't have time to clean up the mess and his kid broke the handles, not him. We didn't talk much after that. She asked me to lunch under the guise of catching up, but it was actually just to recruit me for MLM. A random dude showed up with a PowerPoint presentation and everything. I left and never spoke to her again. After overhearing, via eavesdropping, my new slightly higher salary, he decided that meant I should loan him money since I was rich from a job I wouldn't start for a month. When I refused to do this, he texted me while I was having dinner with my new coworkers that he'd always hated me and knew I hated him, and a bunch of other manipulative BS. I did not hate him prior to this. Suffice to say, I cut him out of my life and show that text to any unfortunate mutual friends that believe his sob story about how I'm such an a-hole. They usually cut contact with him right after reading it, lol. An old friend once showed up to my house the night he found out the girl I was sort of dating was also hooking up with my other friend. He brought a bottle of whiskey and told it to me straight, even though the other guy was his best friend. We weren't actually that close before that, but it was a solid thing to do and our mutual friend was fully aware that he was doing it. I guess that's a 2 for 1. We were coworkers at the time, and I put a lot of trust in her. I was new and constantly getting shit from the higher ups over things I was supposed to know, without ever having been told. She was my team lead, and told me I could lean on her and ask for help anytime. Everyone on the team called her Mama Bear. I vented and confided about work a lot, and she listened and gave me advice. The shit from the higher ups only got worse. I talked to her more and more. Work started really getting me down about myself and stressed me out because I was losing my job soon. And I had no idea why I was getting crap when I bent over backwards and worked long unpaid hours to pick up my apparent slack. It took one of my other coworkers pulling me into her office, closing the door, and telling me to my face, "You're trusting the wrong people here. Stop telling anyone anything." And then she told me all the crap and gossip mill had been going on about me. Things that I had only told Mama Bear. It turned out the other bitches in my group were the only ones not going around making up drama and bullshit, and had been trying to get me to open my eyes for months. I was so floored and betrayed, I started crying on the spot, but other coworker told me to dry that up and don't let them get to you. Hold your chin up and pretend everything is great until you can get out of here. I did just that, pretended I never found out who was telling the upper management, and I wasn't cut out. Wasn't putting in the work, wasn't getting along with the rest of the team, which had been true a year earlier, but then we all got along great. And anytime Mama Bear came to me asking if I wanted to talk, I told her, nope, I'm good, but thanks. Last time I saw her, I was still smiling to her face, telling her I was sad about not working with her anymore, and I'd miss her. Hope she chokes on her second face. Was close friends throughout high school, even got one of his drawings as a tattoo. Lost touch after HS, found him and emailed him about 15 years later. His reply, "Hi DD, glad things are going well. Let me know about the great product. I'm lucky enough to be able to offer people like you." It went on, a pyramid scheme. I never wrote back. Sucks, I missed him. Ditched me at the bar after someone punched me. He thought I was going to call the police on the venue, so he insisted to take my phone. It took me 2 weeks to get my phone back, and his dad was the one who gave it to me, which I was only able to do because I called my own phone myself since the friend in question ghosted me. Needless to say, F that guy. Had an old friend that got into drugs. I shipped out to the military and I hadn't heard from him in a few years. Apparently he was sent to rehab down in California. I was at the gym in Kansas one day working out and I received a message from him that he needed $100 because he lost his wallet and phone. So being a good guy and he'd never asked me for money before, I wire transferred him some to help him out. Turns out I actually helped him escape rehab and the whole thing was a lie. He's doing better now, I hear, but it didn't sit well with me. It made me feel guilty for helping him escape, and disappoint his family. I've pretty much cut all ties of communication with him. Drugs change people. It's crazy. Was at an 18th birthday party. My boyfriend at the time left early because he had work the next day, but my friend had told me he had lied to me and gone home with another girl. I was quite drunk and impressionable as a result, and got quite upset, when she suggested I should hook up with one of the older male friends as revenge. I eventually got a lift back to his place and found out it wasn't true. His mom had picked him up from the party and he was asleep in his own bed. Turns out she also liked my boyfriend and was trying to break us up to see if she could take a shot at him. I told her that I was planning on escaping my narcissistic abusive parents, and she goes to tell them that I was planning on leaving, all because she wanted to be able to stay near me. I still managed to get out of that situation, but she made my life very difficult and later tried to pin the blame on me. She also managed to convince a bunch of her friends to harass my sister for details on my current whereabouts. Wherever you are right now, Lisa, F you. My dog's health drastically plummeted in one day. I went to bed and he was great, and I woke up and he was dying from kidney failure. Took him to the vet and he was put down in my arms while I held it together until just after he passed and broke into a waterfall of emotion. Got home with him and grabbed a shovel, made it to the garden and started digging. A car pulls up. My friend gets out with a shovel, walks up and doesn't say anything, just starts digging with me. A few minutes later, another car pulls up. Another friend gets out with a shovel. I realized right then and there that I had made some incredibly amazing friends. Friend A was out of work. I had another friend, friend B, willing to give friend A a job instantly. No application or interview required. Passed along the contact info to friend A and talked to friend B. Crickets. Guy had no money for rent and basically stiffed his roommates who he was renting from for months. Said he would claim squatters' rights if he had to. Still always had weed though. Really showed me how lazy and selfish he really was. Stopped hanging out with the group as a whole shortly thereafter. I was okay friends with this guy for about 2 to 3 years. We'd study together, work out, etc. A couple of months ago, my cousin died who I was really close to, and I had to cancel plans to go to the gym. He showed up to my house with food and self-care kit, ate with me and let me cry on his shoulder. We watched movies and napped. Somehow he just knew I needed to be around people. I never held much of an opinion on him before, but now I know how much of a wonderful, thoughtful person he is. This guy presented himself as a perfect boy next door. He was cute, had good grades, went to a private Christian school, and had the perfect poster family. He was impossible not to like on the outside. And then, on the other hand, I had this other friend who had pretty bad OCD and was just all around socially awkward. She was really sweet at heart, but you really had to think through everything you said to her to make sure she didn't take it the wrong way. I had a class with both of these friends. The girl had a crush on someone else in the class who sat nearby and made it pretty obvious. She left the room one day, and suddenly my do no wrong friend started expressing his sympathy for the guy she had a crush on. He was saying shit like, "Oh, I'm sorry you had to deal with that, and I'll pray for you at my church." The second I try to defend the girl, I'm turned into some sort of social outcast. My friend was stationed in Kuwait for many years during work for the army. He joined the army to gain discipline and obtain benefits for the GI Bill, as well as gain relevant skill sets. Before that, he married a nice girl who was very sweet and seemed caring and had many interests he had, who happened to be the sister of one of his friends. He returned from duty and did contracting work on the oil fields. He was paid well. With this money, he provided his wife a townhome, a new Subaru Outback, and for himself, a good number of toys. She was going to school for her BSN. In 2017, though, the relationship took a dark turn, as many do, and he told me that they got into an argument. During that argument, she admitted that she had not really liked him as much as she said she did, and that she really only married him for his GI benefits. It was quite a contrasting thing to imagine, given that 6 months prior they had a vow renewal that was beautiful, with her giving a compassionate speech. He divorced her within the month, sold the home, willingly divested of assets she requested per prenup, and moved in with his sister 2 states away. It was one of the worst days of my life, helping him pack his empty house, because of all the memories I had there. I now rarely see him and only interact with him on Discord when we game. He is not an expressive individual, but from what I can gather from my interactions and from the others on the Discord server, my friend is a changed man from the experience. He is much more reserved, and I honestly think he is afraid of dating another woman and being burned again. It makes me sad. I want to see him meet another woman and be happy with her, rather than go through a doldrum of life. Getting him to admit his fears and anxieties would make him angry, maybe even offended, and lead to a falling out. I could even be reading him completely wrong, but in any case, I wish things were better for him. The girl still lives around, and I do not interact with her, though she approached me at the hockey rink my brother plays at to initiate a platonic conversation. Girl don't know I'm a gay chubby chaser though, but every time I excuse myself and leave. The story has made me very angry with her because she led my best friend on false pretenses for her own benefit. One particular day, I was sitting at a table in the cafe near our lab that we always go to. She came in requesting to sit in the seat I was already sitting in, strike one. I conceded because it was a stupid seat and I like to choose my battles. She said she wanted to chat, but within a few minutes she had her head glued to her phone and completely ignored me. She was more than happy to talk about herself when I piped up. She instantly stopped listening. Strike two. I got up and left, and she didn't even notice. Strike three. I lost contact with her a few years ago after a handful of one-sided attempts to keep in touch, but she never made any effort. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. It'll be greatly appreciated. And if you want to visit the original thread, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.